Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Tim at Broken Dice. We're going to go over Greek Turn 5. I'm going to do a quick little recap here. Then we're going to get into the orders phase, combat phase, and then we're going to do another little recap of what happened, and then we're going to discuss possible options. All right, let's get into this. Okay, here we see the center of the battlefield. This is where most of the action is going to take place, obviously. You can see there's a couple of unengaged pike blocks. Since this is the Greek part of turn 5, they're going to issue charges. They're so close, it's going to be all initiative based. The most important part is the commander at the top right corner, the Greek general. It's funny how this kind of turned out historically accurate, where he chased off a couple of units, and now he's got to get himself back to the battlefield. And this is going to be the most important order, and it's probably I'm just going to do a follow me order and see if he can't get those units back into the combat there. And yeah, then let's get into this. I'm kind of interested to let you know how this all turned out. All right, first off, obviously we're going to do an orders for this these two units of cavalry to charge into the rear of the nearest cohorts. They're fighting the Silver Shields. This I think is what is going to turn the battle. What happens here, I think, in the long run, is really going to have a great effect on the game itself. And we're going to go through this pretty quick. Obviously, an initiative based charge here from this unit of pikemen. They're kind of centrally situated, so again, holding the center is going to be very important for the Greeks. Okay, on the left of the main battle line, we have our double-dipped phalanx that has pushed back a couple of units, pushed through actually 2 units of Romans, and is ready to charge its third. Um, it hasn't been just completely overwhelming. It's just more about break test rolls and stuff that have taken the Romans out. It wasn't like these guys were that overpowering in each of the combats. They just happened to win by just enough to make the other side test, and that's all it takes. But yeah, here's another charge, and let's keep going on with the charges. Oh yeah, this is the one we just looked at. Sorry about that. Okay, here we are, the far left of the Greek line. These unengaged infantry, obviously initiative orders all around, get into some combat, and the cavalry at the bottom, these 2 light units, open order cavalry, are going to charge their opposite number here for the Romans. They're going to charge the the unit at the bottom part of the screen on the very left. They're going to charge them and hopefully keep them from assisting and aiding the combats in the here on the left. Here, just another angle of the units that we're charging, that showing them where they're making contact. And notice here on the bottom left is a unit of medium cavalry coming in for the Roman allies. Um, they have an opportunity to tip the scale as well. So I'm not sure how this is all going to turn out. So let's get into this and let's see. All right, Greek combat phase. Well, obviously they got their charge off, but it didn't turn out that well for them. They had already suffered some significant damage in the previous combats, and it didn't take much for the Romans to put them in a state of shaken. And so they lost the combat. The Silver Shields, they passed their break test easily. The cavalry, not so much. Yeah, with the Greek general here, they had to give ground in disorder. And what's important about this is, with those 2 units shaken and the other 2 units destroyed and off the table, this means that division is broken, and the army general is wounded. He's out of the game, so I have to come up with a sub commander who's going to be far less effective. So like I said, this was going to have a tremendous effect upon the game. I just wasn't sure which direction it was going to go, and it went in the direction that I didn't think it would. So yeah, this is going to be big, especially for Roman part of turn 5. Okay, that next pike block, the one with the red trim, uh, they lost the combat significantly. They lost by like 4 or 5, but luckily for them on the break test, they rolled boxcars. That's why I took a picture of it. I thought, well, this was going to be the downfall. They're just going to one right after another start losing combats and leave the field, but not here. They rolled boxcars, and they're able to give ground in good order and still stay on the table. So the Greeks are hanging on by a thread here. Okay, this is another ongoing combat between two units that have just been slugging it out for a couple turns. Um, yeah, it was very evenly matched, even though the Romans had two supporting small units of skirmishers. Didn't really matter that much in the long run. But yeah, these two guys, the two units have just been slugging it out. Yeah, what happened in that ongoing combat is they both put themselves in a state of shaken. They've uh, both took break tests, and obviously from the dice rolls you can tell that they were gone. Absolutely, they've had enough. And even one of the supporting units actually broke from the table as well. So that one's kind of a wash, but yet not, because the pike blocks are too important, and it leaves a gaping hole right in the middle of the Greek line. All right, here the double depth phalanx won its combat, and the Romans gave ground. And obviously, the phalanx is going to do what they do, and they're just going to keep pushing forward and remain in contact with that unit. So here we have the far left of the Greek line, and these combats did not turn out in any way, shape, or form that I thought they would. I thought the big block of Greek hoplite heavy allied infantry for the Greeks would have just swamped that medium warband, you know, but it didn't. They actually lost the combat and had to give ground. At least they gave ground in good order, but they still had to give ground. Yeah. So, and all the penalties that go along with that, but the other side hitting on 3 pluses because they won the previous round of combat. So they've got an uphill battle. Then down here, where the Thurophori are fighting a big war band, they actually won their combat and pushed them back in disorder. The cavalry at the very bottom, they obviously beat the one small cavalry unit, and at the end they just turned to face the nearest units within 12 inches due to proximity. Yeah, let's take a look at the battlefield and take a little bit of just a little review of what happened. Okay, here's 3 photographs giving a kind of a big view of the battlefield. And the right photo shows mainly the Greek right. Obviously, the Greek general is gone. We have the Galatian infantry that is on the far right. They're turned and ready to face the battlefield again, and they have some juicy targets all lined up for them. That orders phase for the Romans again is going to be very important. Who gets to go? Which way are they going to go? Like with the Galatians, which unit are they going to try for? I think the Silver Shields are the juicier target, and I think that's the one they should go for and get rid of. But I might roll off, but I don't know. It just seems to me like they would go to the closest one. And we look in the middle photo. You can kind of see at the top right, you've got the Silver Shields fighting. And then you have that big open space right in the middle where the cohorts are. And then we have down at the bottom that one cohort that lost combat drastically but rolled the box cars for its brake test. It gave ground, but again, look at that opening it's created. Along with, and you have that unit falling backwards, and then you have the double depth phalanx pushing so far forward. So this creates an opportunity for the Roman side, but the double depth phalanx is so deep, it's outside of any sort of charge arc. So the Romans are going to have to spend a turn turning to face that threat. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. Yeah, it's very interesting how this has turned out. Choices to be made. And I'd be interested to know what another person would think if they were playing the Romans and they find themselves in this situation. What's their thoughts about solving this? Do you just push forward and assist the units that are already winning their combats and overwhelm the other two, which would, due to the rules, break that center division? I am so sorry, my allergies are killing me, so my voice is far raspier than what it normally is. I apologize. And then on the far left, we have those two infantry combats. Again, if they continue to go on and that supporting cavalry for the Roman allies shows up, again, I think weight of numbers, basically the weight of the number of dice you can roll in a combat, is eventually going to spell doom for the Greeks. But that brings us to the end of this video. I'm sorry again about my voice. It's just been getting pretty raspy here the last couple of days, but I had to get this video done. But yeah, I hope you like this kind of thing. I find these choices and problem-solving exercises fun. That's why I do it. And if anybody has any comments or questions, leave them down below. I will definitely get back with you on that. What do you think? Where are you going to go with those three cohorts in the middle? You're going to turn the face? You're going to move forward? What's your choice? Well, that brings us to the end of this. Hope, again, sorry. I hope all your projects are going well. I hope your voices are well. And I will see you next time.